Hi guys, good morning. Don't I look fabulous for Monday morning? Well, I shot the video yesterday, but good morning. I hope it's going to be a great week. I'm excited to do this video today. I am doing this collaboration with my friend Mona from About Face with Mona. And Mona did a video about a month ago. And in that video, she said,
this is the start of a conversation about things that I've learned through my journey with 3 young adult children.
Let's have a conversation. And I left a comment. And then later on, we actually talked on the phone. And one of the things I said to her and repeated it over and over again, oh, you got to bite your tongue. You got to bite your tongue. I don't know, but you got to bite your tongue. And then we kind of got on to like how I'm 71. We're actually, Mona and I, 20 years apart. I'll be 72 soon, but right now we're 20 years apart. And our children are almost 20 years apart. So I'm coming from a very different place. I have, as I can say, been there, done that, honey. I've been there and done that. But having said that, it's going to be very different for each and every one of us. Mona's, she can go to her link, will be down below, but my children are 40. I have a daughter, 47. I have a daughter, 43, and I have a son, 40, just turned 40 this month. And yeah, I was so tempted. I was so tempted when we had talked about doing this collaboration to go to books, grab books, go to Google, parenting adult children. What do I need to know? What am I going to talk about? What am I going to share? And I went, well, that's really actually, it took everything, but I didn't do it, you guys, because we want this to be a conversation from our personal experiences. It had to come from the heart. It had to come from my own personal experiences with mostly me. This is more about how I'm reacting, not so much them. This is more of a learning curve for moms and dads, because there are dads that have to be moms, play that role quite often as well. And I'll tell you, it can be really, holy moly, and say, be quiet. It's tough. So I'm going to share with you, just kind of, I'm going to share right here, what happened to me, my journey. Now, when we have this conversation, there's a couple of things to remember. Is that parenting our adult children, I don't know. It should be a different word for parenting, because I think at that point we take a totally different role on. Okay, but keeping that in mind, there are cultures that have very set rules on how a mom interacts with her adult children and the expectations in the action and reaction between mom and the adult child. And there are some religions that have very set traditions and ways on how we react to an action with an adult child. So I want to make sure that I stay very respectful of all of that, because we're all different. Myself, I'm a spiritual person. You're going to hear Lisa from Peach's Skincare. It's something we like. It's not something we both do and believe in. Is that we're a spiritual soul having a human experience, and so that can encompass a lot of different tests and rules, and so all of that. So, and you're going to hear from Lisa at the end or somewhere in here, because I wanted her to do a little clip it as well. I'll tell you more about that. Okay, so my adult children. Well, do you know what? It was probably, it's a journey. And if I could say anything to any of you, because I say it to my own children, because I have 5 grandchildren, the boys being 15, and then I've got the 3 granddaughters, 11, 7, and one's going to be 4. 5. Holy moly. Anyway, so not only am I looking as a parent, I'm looking as a grandparent. And there's a lot of things you just have to back away from. But for those of you that are in it, that you're just starting to experience that, your kids are just going into adulthood or they are young adults, I think looking at the world the way it is right now, I think it might be a little bit more difficult. It may get more difficult for you than it ever was for myself, because my children were still in a time where, it was easier for them to have adventures, and, they could get an apartment and afford it. They didn't have to necessarily live with mom and dad till who knows when. So all of those things come into play when we talk parenting our adult children. For me, it comes more into, if you have adults, young adults that are your children living in your home, how do you transition from having that young adult live in your house and respect and abide by your rules? Because this is where it gets a little, I'm an adult now, don't tell me what to do. But wow, just a minute, this adult is under my roof. And so how do you navigate all of that? Well, I can tell you, it can be very, very difficult. It depends on how feisty that young adult is and how respectful that young adult might be. It's going to depend on the relationship you have with your children. And it is, one of my favorite saying, it's a storm that all of us have been in or are in, but we're just sitting in different boats and ships. One might be in a rowboat, you might be in a canoe, you might be in a kayak, you might be, sitting on a huge yacht. And so, the storm is there for all of us, but it's going to be very different for every woman out there. And I think having this conversation is great, because I'm kind of looking down the road and I'm going, yep, I was there. I can remember that. How did I navigate that? Well, there were times where I had to say, more so with my youngest, listen, this is our home. These are our rules. And you're going to have to abide by them, or you're going to have to make other arrangements. That's going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to say as a mom. Because as a mom, oh my God, we just want to hold you. I want to make sure you're okay. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be your everything. Well, you want a healthy adult? You want to make sure that you have children that are going to look after themselves and be able to do what they need to do in life without you holding their hands. It's a tough one, it's that pushing out of the nest. But you're going to have to stay firm on some of the things that they need to learn. Yes, this is our home and we love you and we're always going to be here for you, and you can be here with us. Absolutely. The world has changed. We want to make sure that you're okay, but we have some rules and we also have some requests that you honor those when you're living with us. One of the things that Bill and I argued about, now you got to remember that Bill was the father he never had to be to my 3 children. There's a song, go and listen to it. And when our youngest was the young adult in our home, I said he has to start paying rent. Bill, oh, no, he doesn't have to pay rent. He doesn't have to do that. I said, yes, he does. Because you know what? Besides that, there's going to be nowhere that he can live for free. And so I need him to know he's okay. But you know what we ended up doing? Now in the States it would be a 401k. In Canada it would be an RSP. And I can't remember. He might come on and remind me what I think we agreed to $150 a paycheck. And so we put that into an RSP. And when he was self-employed, we taught him, there has to be a financial commitment. So when you have your adult children at home and you can communicate with them well, these are still wonderful ways of teaching them stuff about life and things that they're going to be doing in their journey or facing in their journey in a very nice way. You can still reach out and guide them. And so that is it's something you can do with your adult children. It's a hard video because if your kids watch your YouTube channel, they know you're talking about them. And I'm going, I think they pretty well know everything I think and feel, but I made something that I don't want to open up Pandora's box. Anyway, all in all, our son was pretty good. There were things that we weren't happy with, and we, you know what, I had to express them to him. And I had to keep saying to him, we love you, we are here for you, we will do whatever I can, but this is our home, and you are an adult, and you can't be living here as a child, but then on the other hand, when we have a disagreement, that you tell us, well, I'm an adult. Because if you really want to start adulting, I guess you're just going to have to fly the nest and figure it out. But having said that, there are times where I overstepped my boundaries, where, your kids are doing really, really well. And so I'm now going to come from the position of, I have no adult children living at home. My adult children have their own homes, and they have their own families, and they have their own children. So everything changes. And there's been there's been times where I've cried. There's times where I have felt that I just wasn't that important anymore. Oh my gosh, I had all those crazy emotions that you might have breaking up with your first boyfriend. Because I had never done it before. So you younger moms that are like Mona right now, that have young adult children in your homes, just know this too will pass. I promise you. And you're going to grow, and you're going to come out of it so much stronger, and you're going to look back and go, I had a pretty good job. And I hope you do say that. But it is not going to come without stuff happening. So from where I sit, I have to really be careful. My son-in-law said something to me years ago. This is when my second grandson was little, and I don't think he'll mind me sharing it because I learned a lot from it. I said something to my grandson. He was like, he might have been 2 or something, or 3. And I was disciplining him. Now that probably would be okay if I was an Italian mom or I was in a different culture. And Bill said to me, Lied, shh, it's not your place. And my son-in-law piped up and said, no, that's fine. I have no problem with you disciplining well, it was just Luke at the time. Oops, am I allowed to say his name? It was just Luke at the time. He said, I have no problem you disciplining my kids. I think you raised 3 really awesome kids. So, free for all. Go ahead. But I had to learn. That might have been fine for him, but you know what? That's not going to sit well with my daughter. This is her time. These are her children. Now, if I see something really scary or something that really worries me, I can have that conversation with her or my son and pull them aside and have a private conversation. It's not my place to pipe in. And believe me, I have to bite my tongue sometimes, and I speak out of turn sometimes. But if we want to continue to have healthy relationships with our adult children, we need to do that. So then it comes in the question of, well, I'm just best friends with my kids. And I know I don't want to, and lots of my girlfriends feel that way. They're best friends with their kids. I'm not best friends with my kids. I'm really good friends with my kids. I really am. I adore my kids. They are just 3 awesome adults, and they all have great partners. But I'm their mom first. I'll always be their mom first. And I want them to like me, and I want them to love going out with me for shopping or a girls' weekend or all of that, but I want them to have best girlfriends or best guy friends outside of me. I need to continue to grow too. I have a journey that I haven't finished. I need to hang out with my girlfriends, and we have these conversations about our children and make each other better when we go back to be the moms that we are to our adult children. I just feel at this point in my life, I'm a guide. I'm somebody that will always love them unconditionally, no matter what they do. I will always be there for them. But I want them to have best friends outside of me. Because you know what? If something happens to me, I don't want them to feel all alone. I don't want them to feel that not only did they lose their mom, they lost their very best friend. I don't know, maybe it's just me, it's a thing with me, but I want them to grow and to continue to grow. My journey as a young adult was a really, really difficult one. And so I think part of how I feel and how I do things comes from that I just don't want to repeat history. I've learned a lot from my history. So I want to make sure that my children are strong adults, and I tell them I love them all the time. I talk to the girls almost every day in one way or another, depending, then we might miss a day or two. My son, not so much, but I'll get a text from him or he'll send me something. So not a week goes by where I don't have a conversation or something. And that's really comforting. I know there's going to be a lot of you going to say, oh my gosh, like that's just so out there. I can't relate to that. I would love to hear from you down below in the comments if you can relate. There's something that Mona and I talked about that I want to share. And I'm hoping that some of you will decide to do this. We thought it'd be really fun. Mona actually already did this. I didn't know until yesterday, so I didn't have time to get anything together, but I've got Lisa coming on a snippet, give a little bit about her journey at 56 with her adult children. And but we're really hoping that if you have a YouTube channel, that you will consider doing our hashtag, and that is parenting adult children, and give us your views on it and what was most difficult for you. Or are you estranged from your adult children? Are you close with your adult children? Do you do everything with? And how does that not only it's strong in the family, but does that give you as a more mature woman, does that give you a chance to grow actually? And I'm going to talk more about that in my next video, about why it's important for me to also make sure that I continue to grow and be all that I still can be in my journey. And those of you that don't have a YouTube channel but think that this would be really cool to put a little bit of what you're experiencing or what you're going through, send us a short video. Take your iPhone, talk into your iPhone, and then either send it to myself or send it to Mona. And then in our next conversation about parenting adult children, we will share that in our video. So yeah, like I say, I think it's a conversation that we should have. But I just want to say that you're going to doubt yourself 1,000 times. We do that when our kids are little and babies. But you know what, Mom? We all just do our best. And if you give your best and you always do it with love and nurturing, you're never going to be wrong. And what's really too important, probably the most important thing that I can leave you with before I share Lisa's clip, is to raise healthy adults who have made their own life, is for Mom to understand you're not number one anymore. You're Mom. You're still an important person, but you're not number one. I am beyond happy and at peace that my children have partners, that they have made a life, that my son understands his wife is a priority, My daughters understand their husbands is the priority. Their children are their priority. And I am honored to be included in all of that. But I'm not number one. And there's no need to cry about it, because we have a life. I really hope you do, because I think this is a great conversation. And I think we can hold each other's hands no matter what stage in our life we're at. Okay, so with no further ado, I want to introduce you to Lisa. And she sent me a little clip, and I'm going to share that with you, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Okay, here it is.
Hi, Liedy, and thank you for including me in this video. You asked me to share what I may know, or the advice that I might give a younger mother or father, or just anyone who has children. My children are 32 and 34 years old. My daughters are our oldest, and our son is our youngest. And I think there's a few things that I wish someone would have told me, and that I would share with others that may be struggling or not struggling when raising children in today's world or any time in history. Always let your children be who they are. That was very important to my husband and I. We didn't try to mold them into something they weren't or something that we wanted them to be. We were examples to them. We certainly shared with them what our expectations were, but we let them be the people or the spirits that they are. I always told my children that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so if that's true, they have come here to be who they are supposed to be. The other thing that we do every night, my husband and I, is we pray together. Now, not necessarily with our children back then, but we always prayed together. And one of the things that I always prayed is that my children would be incredible examples and humans and give back to this world. And what's really amazing about that is they both are in professions where they do that. To many people, they would be considered successful. To me, they are just incredible humans, and that's really what I wanted them to be. You will have challenges, and a few things that my dear friends and I always say to each other is teenagers are liars, and that can be really hard for a parent to hear, but it is true. You have to not only hold them accountable, but understand that your child is not perfect and they are going to make mistakes. And many times teenagers lie to us because they don't want to let us down and they're afraid to tell us the truth. You have to really dig deep, really encourage them to share with you and really communicate. And one of the ways that my husband and I did that was to share our experiences with them, share what was going on in our family, whether it was a financial thing or we were going to make a big decision. We always shared that with our children from a very young age. And it encouraged them to communicate with us and tell them when things were going on. Your children are beautiful spirits, and if you're struggling, they will come back to you, especially mamas with daughters. I am closer to my daughter now than I ever have been. They become your best friend. It is such a beautiful time to have a glass of wine with them or laugh over the crazy things we worried about when they were young. But also, don't let your mistakes or your fears change how you are with them, because your children need to know that you love them, that you know that they are doing the very best they can do. And I think just being unconditional is so very important. I tell them they will be my babies until they're a million years old, and they can always come to us and know that we are here for them. So Liedy, I hope that this was something that you can share with your amazing subscribers. I learned so much from you, Liedy. I love the woman you are to this woman and the way that you help me and give me advice. And I wish more people would understand that looking to wiser souls, people that have been here for a while, is really what we should be doing. I hope you enjoyed this.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa. She makes me cry. I love you too. Thank you for sharing, and we're going to bring her back in. Lisa's channel is all about skincare, and I try to listen to her. Like I always say I'm not her best student. But anyway, Lisa, thank you. I love you, sweetie. Thank you for contributing. This was a last minute thing, so unfortunately I didn't get to put more of you on. Please, before you go, take a moment. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. A thumbs up just pushes it out there to the algorithm. Look at all the words I'm learning at my age. And then, of course, a comment, and let me know if you're going to be sending a video, and we can incorporate it into the next one. Love you guys, and please, don't forget, check Mona. Go see Mona's video on this. Bye.